In this episode of the UX Tea Break, I look at involving the team in user research. So this question comes from Javier, who asked me this on a training course that I was running last week in London, where he said, you've said a few times that we should involve the team in user research, but what if your team isn't interested? After all, developers don't ask me to watch them code. Why should they watch me when I do user research? I think there's a few reasons for doing this. I thought what I would do is first of all give you the arguments why I think it matters, but then kind of give you a metaphor that I think will help you realise why it's actually helped you a lot in your job. Well, let's start off with the reasons why it helps. So first of all, if you get people along to watch your users struggling with a product, or you get them to understand user needs, what you'll discover is that the developers begin to realise that they're not the user. That's one of the hardest things, I think, for people on product teams to realise, that they're not the user. I have a story about that. I'll put a link to the video here. But understanding that you're not the user and that users are qualitatively different from you is really important. I mean, for example, imagine the average technical skills of somebody using software or using technology, and then appreciate that half the population are below that average. That gives you an idea of where there's a disconnect between what most people are capable of and what developers are capable of, particularly if you took the average for your team, which I'm sure is way above the norm for the population. So the one key reason to get developers involved is because it helps them realise that they're not the user. I think the second reason it helps is because if you can get designers watching too, in my experience, designers are problem solvers. They want to fix the problems that they see users experience. And when you show them the problems, the difficulties that users have, it creates an itch, and they want to solve that particular issue, and they're not doing it in isolation. So designers in particular are often crying out for information about users. And then there's other people on the product team as well, such as the product owner, for example, senior stakeholders within the organisation. If they can come out with you on field visits, they get to see whole new needs that they're not meeting for users, which gives them ideas for new products that could be created, or alterations to existing products that are going to better meet user needs. So I think they're the kind of what I think of as the logical arguments for doing it. But let me give you a metaphor as well. Imagine that you're in an enormous warehouse. As far as you look, all you can see is an empty warehouse. And in the middle of that warehouse, there's a metal box. If you put your shoulder up against that metal box and shove it, you can just about move it a little bit. I'm going to use that metal box as a metaphor for your product, and that warehouse as a metaphor for the space within which your product operates. You do user research and you realise we need to be over there. That's where the product needs to be. You don't know exactly where, because user research can't be that specific. It can tell you it's that direction. It can't tell you exactly what it should be like though, because it's iterative. So you put your shoulder to the box and you push it, and then you do more user research and you course correct accordingly. While you're pushing that metal box on one side, you've got the development team on other sides of the box pushing in different directions, and that's because they've got their preconceptions about where they think the product should be as well. Some of them think it should be over there, some think it should be in that direction, some think it should be behind you. Everybody's pushing in a different direction, and as a consequence your impact is lessened because of that. Now, wouldn't it be great if you could get all of them on your side of the box pushing in the same direction? How much more quickly would you achieve your goal? And that's what happens when you get the team watching user research. That's not to say that you won't get the odd person, a senior stakeholder, pushing the box from a different direction, but at least if all of you are pushing in one direction, you're more likely to get there than if you've got them all pushing in different directions. So I like that metaphor in preference to those logical arguments, but I hope both of them have helped you understand why it's so important to involve the team in the user research that you're doing. I hope you found that a good answer to your question, Javier. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And if you have any questions you'd like me to answer, please post them below.